Right, Blighty Boxing with Frank Warren and Queensbury Promotions. We're here, ventured over to Romford to catch up with Hamzah Sheeraz. How are you, mate?
I'm very well, Richard. Yourself?
Yeah, I haven't seen you for a little while, and I presume you're out of the ring for a little while because Ramadan's coming up, I guess.
You'd say that, but tonight I travel to Dubai, and then from Dubai I'm going to LA because I'm based at my new camp over there. So I'll be doing, I think, the first 2 weeks of Ramadan, or first week, and then I have to make up for it after my fight.
Put a little bit in the bank.
That's it, just keep pocketing it.
Space it out.
That's it.
Is that allowed?
It is actually, yeah, it is. How it works is if you don't do a certain amount, you can either pay a certain amount towards charity, or you can just catch up with it afterwards.
I'll tell you what is striking is looking at you now, thinking back to that little shrimp I used to see down at Lenny Butcher's gym. Yeah. Look at the size of you now.
That's it, I'm a growing lad.
I mean, you were sort of 18-ish, but 17, 18 back then, weren't you?
Yeah, I was 17 actually when you used to come down. You used to interview Ben and everyone back then, didn't you? Yeah, no, I was 17 then, and I think I was what must have been about 65 kilos, if nothing that, and now I'm like a full-blown super welterweight. Do you know what I mean?
Is it a big growth spurt, or is it diet? Is it sort of shakes, or what?
It's my mother's cooking. No, I'm joking. I think it's just natural growth, isn't it? I was always a lanky lad, and now I think I'm just filling out a little bit more, and I'm getting a lot more solid, as you can tell in the ring as well.
Yes. Let's move sort of through the stages. I mean, you started off with Lenny, got you off to a nice start in it, but then remember you telling me you felt, but you got a little bit stale inside the ring.
Yeah.
Knockouts were changing into points victories, and you weren't really making statements at the time. You moved to Terry Dunstan, and I think I'm right in saying I think it was 3 straight first round knockouts. I think. Wasn't it?
Something like that.
Yeah, you certainly found your power there, didn't you?
Yeah, like you hit the nail on the head with what happened with Lenny. I just felt like I hit a limit. And obviously, with me and Lenny still good mates now, and we've moved on.
Can't not be, can you?
Yeah, I know he's a good guy. But then when I trained with Terry, I think what it was a good change of environment, change of training. It changed my whole routine up, so everything was different, and I felt like I was like a sponge. I was soaking it all up, and then obviously, as you could see in the performances I was having, it was all paying off, and I was obviously reaping the rewards, and I was getting the good victories at them. But I think at the same time, what I was understanding was that boxing is an entertainment. I know they say you got to go in there and grab the win, but at the same time you got people earning their hard-earned money watching you. So you got to entertain, and
it's showbiz.
Exactly, it's a showbiz business, and I was getting a lot more people coming to my fights. So my crowd was getting a lot bigger, and my support was getting a lot bigger. And then they used to say to me, "Yeah, make sure you knock the next one out. Make sure you knock the next one out." And that's what I've been doing. Like the last, I think 6 or 7 fights have all been stoppages. I'm on a roll now, so I'm doing all right.
They were kind of like, say, the 3 first rounders. They might have not been against the most durable of opponents, but it was something that got you noticed. It got your promoter looking at you and taking notice of you, which is important at this stage for you, isn't it? Yeah,
it was massive. And what you got to remember is every man takes knocking out. It's easy to say, he was a bum bat. Every man takes knocking out. So, yeah, man. But I think the highlight was when I won the European title, because
the Kelly fight. That was the breakthrough, wasn't it?
That's it. Yeah.
He was a tough man. He was well in it, wasn't he?
Yeah, of course he was in it. Listen, it was a level fight. If you watch it, it was a level fight going into the 6th round. But the 5th round is when I just switched it up, because I was trying to box him long, and it weren't working. It wasn't working at all. And then I thought, listen, I'm going to hold my feet, bite down my gum shield, and just do something now. And then that's what I did. And ever since that fight, I learned that I could actually fight. I was more comfortable knowing that I could fight on the inside, under the lights, when it matters. It's all good doing it in sparring, but when you're in the ring, under the lights and everything, it's a whole different game.
And you were kind of, even though you were the home fighter, you were kind of an away fighter as well, weren't you?
Yeah, what it was, listen, fight week, he was getting more love than me. I'm telling you, he was, well, because obviously it was his hometown, everyone was interviewing, everyone was doing everything. They're like, yeah, because I think he won the Midlands area title, and he must have, I think he had about 4 10-rounders before I even had my first one. And everyone thought, yeah, listen, he's gonna manhandle me and everything. So it was a good one to put out the bag, and I was the first person to stop him as well.
Well, I was sitting literally right behind his corner, and they were getting excited, thinking he was getting on top. And then it was like, oh shit.
Yeah. No, he caught me with a good few shots as well. He caught me with a good few solid body shots and a few shots to the face. But at the end of the day, I think it's all about how bad you actually want it. And that fight, like I said, I realised everything was kind of against me in that fight, and no one was expecting me to win. I thought only a little 19-year-old kid, he's trying his best, this, that, the other, and I pulled it out of the bag, and I ain't looked back since.
Well, yeah, I mean, Paul Keane had a decent record, stopped him in 6. Guido Pitto, respectable record. You've now defended that title twice, and really, to all intents and purposes, your professional career is now up and running, isn't it?
Yeah, listen, you hit the nail on the head there. I think I'm ranked 13 with the WBO now, and my ranking in England's getting a lot higher. And when they mentioned the likes of like the Ted Cheesemans and the Metcalfs and all these names, my name's slowly getting mentioned in there. And a year ago, that's what I said. I want my name to be mentioned with all these 154 domestic lads, and hopefully, whatever opportunity comes, whether it be British, whether it be world, just once that breakthrough comes, like the actual breakthrough to get my name on the world stage, I'll grab the opportunity with both hands. Just
to explain to the viewers, setting aside the current situation, your training thing after that, so you had Terry Dunstan, and then after that we seem to see like a galaxy of stars in the corner. It's all of a sudden we heard Colin McMillan, Kevin Mitchell, and there seemed to be a lot of voices around. Is that something you've streamlined, or was it by accident or design?
That was just, listen, that all happened as I was kind of cracking on in my career. It just all like just, I don't know how to even explain, but it all just kind of happened. But now, for the Paul Keane fight, I started training at this gym at Edge actually. And then at the time I was training with Eddie Kelly. He was just like filling in for me because I didn't actually have a #1 coach, and I didn't have no one who could teach me new things and everything. So he was just keeping me ticking along. And then at the same time I was training with Will Jones, who actually owns this gym. And then I made the change to actually appointing him as my #1 coach, myself and Uma's #1 coach, because he was teaching us new things, and every time we come here it was something different, and it wasn't the same thing over and over again. Nothing was getting repetitive. And the thing with Will as well, he's willing to learn. Do you know what I mean? He's not a stubborn coach. He's willing to learn. And if I tell him something or Uma tell him something, he's willing to like work around it or just listens really. And most coaches are a bit stubborn nowadays, if you see. So yeah, that's basically where I'm at now. I'm with Will, and he'll be coming over to LA with me as well.
I know sometimes changing trainers and not having a set routine sometimes gets frowned upon.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's a lot of different experiences for you at this age, and you've got to find the right formula.
Yeah.
It's not ideal for you to stay in something that perhaps doesn't seem to be working for you, just to avoid sort of, you know.
Yeah. What I've got to look at is obviously, from the outsider's point of view, is thinking, why does he keep changing coaches? Why is this? Why is that? But if you look at it from my point of view, the benefit from all that is I can pick up loads of different things and merge it all into one. But right now, listen, I'm definitely the happiest I've ever been. In my last fight, I was always nervous of going 10 rounds, being 10 rounds fit or being 12 rounds fit. And in the last fight, even with an injury, I hurt my hand, both my hands in the first round. I was more than capable of getting the job done, and as you see in the 10th round, I got it done because I thought, it's the last round now. If I break my hands, what difference does it make? So yeah, I just done it.
It's one way of looking at it as well.
Yeah, I know.
Right, now tell us in detail what's happening with this America thing. How did it come about?
Yep.
When did the seed get sown?
So it was 2.5 years ago. Ricky Funez actually came down here. And because Taz helps me out, like organising camps and everything.
That's Amir's man.
Yeah, Amir's uncle, that's it. He gave me a bell just out the blue. I was actually after a fight, like a week after a fight. He gave me a call, he goes, yeah, do you want to do a session with Ricky Funez? At the time I was like, who's Ricky Funez? I didn't know who he was. And then in my head I was like, no, I don't want to do it. But luckily I did. I got up, I got out of bed and I just cracked on with it. And I went down the gym, and then what I learned in that training session, which I think was a 2-hour training session, I just carried on through all these fights, just that little, like a few little pieces of information. And then before my last fight actually, I said to Taz, I go, listen, I need to like go abroad, because I was watching Kell Brook's interview, I was watching Khan's interview and another British fighter, and what they were saying is they'd go America a lot earlier if they could. So if I can't learn off the people who have been there and done it, I've got to be daft, you know. And the good thing is I've got the sponsors. I've been lucky enough and fortunate enough to have the backing to be able to do it.
Gonna be on your own?
I'm going out there with Taz, and my old man, and then Will and Uma and everything. They join us for the second half of the camp out in America.
So your dad's gonna stay with you the whole time?
I think he's gonna come back a month before, So he's going to stay there for about 3-4 weeks and then he's going to come back.
Just get you bedded in.
That's it, just get me bedded in, worm me in.
Make sure you're eating.
That's it, make sure I'm doing washing up and everything.
It's a bold move. There's a certain amount of sacrifice involved there, so it kind of shows that you're getting very single-minded about your career.
Yeah, 100%. Listen, I'm going to be away from home for about 13 weeks. That's how long I'm going to be away from home. And I think to be the best, you got to invest in yourself, and you got to be like, great things never came from comfort zones. You got to get out your comfort zone. You got to crack on with things, and especially in America. Listen, you got all the styles there. You got the Mexicans, you got the Cubans, you got the Colombians, especially in Tengu's boxing gym. Listen, you got the likes of Andre Berto training there. All the greats have trained there. All the good fighters, and the modern day greats as well. So, who knows how I could be sparring out there? And I know the level of sparring and the level of what I'm going to learn out there is going to be incredible. So I'm looking forward to it.
Are you working towards a specific date at the moment? Is this being tailored towards
Yeah, we're looking towards getting out, I think, at the end of June, mid-June or end of June. So that's what we're tailoring it towards. It could be before, it could be after, but give or take, it don't really matter.
Any particular fight?
Nothing yet. I haven't heard nothing. Just whoever they put in front of me, really.
Your promoter,
Yep.
Frank, speaks very highly of you at the moment, doesn't he? I mean, you can't fail to notice. It must give you a bit of a boost.
Yeah, it does. Listen, like, especially when my earlier fights, I wasn't not getting noticed, but I wasn't being really talked about for obvious reasons. I wasn't really performing to the best of my ability. But ever since I said to you, like, I understand what it actually is now. It's a business, and you have to entertain. I think my mindset's completely changed. I understand it's not all about, like I said, getting the win. It's all about entertaining. And when you're getting mentioned by Frank in interviews, and then I slowly started speaking to him as well after the fights and everything, it's a massive boost. It's a huge boost because he's been in the sport for a very long time, and for him to say that I could potentially be a future world champion is a massive thing. And I think all I've got to do is just keep building on that and keep impressing.
But you can't get giddy with it at the same time, can you? I mean,
No.
Look at Saturday as a prime example.
Yeah,
You think you're only a second away from things going belly up.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Game,
yeah, you have to stay humble in this game. You have to stay humble in this game. If you think about it, technically, you're only ever one punch away from being knocked out. It's as simple as. So I think you always got to have that. Well, I do anyway. Have that in the back of my mind, and always stay humble and stay grounded, and hopefully work my way to the top.
And we're going to get a little bit deep with you now. I mean, what was kind of your route into this sport? What was the catalyst for, you wanting to go down a grubby gym and put the sweaty gloves on?
I'll tell you what, I've said it before, my uncle was always involved in boxing. He was always involved in boxing. He was 8, 9 time, however many time national champion he was. And then one day he just picked me up and he took me to the gym. And then it wasn't like, I wanna be a boxer. It was just, I enjoyed it. I just enjoyed it. And then I think from the age of 8 to 16, actually that's a lie, from 8 to 15 I was enjoying it. And then 15 I wasn't liking it no more. I told you I meant to get picked for the Commonwealth Games and I didn't, and then it all just went a bit downhill from there. I just didn't enjoy it no more. And then I said, I want to give myself a break from this. If you're not enjoying it, there's no point in doing it. And then, that's what really got me involved. And then obviously I had the opportunity to turn pro, and I've done that. And now I'm loving it, absolutely loving it.
Did it do a lot for your confidence as a youngster though? Sort of, just give you that, not the fact that I'm hard, I'm a boxer, but just give you that, little swagger in school.
To be honest, I was always quiet in school. I was a normal kid. I wasn't popular. I wasn't hyper. I wasn't a naughty kid. I was just a simple kid. I wasn't too clever either. And all I ever used to think about was boxing. I used to go to school and think about boxing, talk about boxing to the coach, to the teachers, and that. And then slowly they started noticing that he's serious about what he does. And then I was getting recognition from school and everything. I was getting all this teacher support, and it was good. It was good. And I think back then no one actually thought he's going to go on to become a professional and become a European champion, or actually take it serious and be signed with BT Sport and Frank Warren. And I think now it's happening. They all started, all the teachers are messaging me and everything, and now they're slowly believing that it's actually happening, so it's good.
Amir was a big catalyst for British-Pakistani boys getting down the gym, wasn't he? His Olympic success. It served as an inspiration, because you look at hundreds of kids now, isn't there?
Yeah.
British Asian kids in boxing.
Yeah.
And was that something for you as well?
Yeah, it was definitely, but I think the difference between me and him is he was boosted, catapulted straight into the pro game with the silver medal that he got. He was 17 years old. It was incredible what he'd done. And obviously he was the first British Pakistani in the sport, so his support was going to be through the roof. But with me, I've done it from scratch. No one at all knew who I was apart from my family. The the 200 people that come to my debut was all my family members. And yeah, it's just been growing since then. I think that's the difference. No one knew who I was. And obviously, it's all well and good saying, yeah, he's opened the doors and that, which he has, but
inspired.
But the route I'm taking, I think I've kind of opened doors for myself, really.
Now, there's a court case going on in America because last year you had the murder of George Floyd in America, and it reverberated around the world, and you had the Black Lives Matter protest, and it shone a light on sort of institutional racism in Britain, covert racism, unconscious bias. Is this something that you've ever encountered throughout the years?
You know what? Luckily, I've never experienced it. I don't think I've experienced much trauma or anything like that. To be honest with you, honestly, I haven't. But obviously, at the end of the day,
it's a good thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's a very good.
Positive.
It is a very good thing. I think what it is, I've grown up around all different communities. I think the area where I grew up in Ilford, you've got all different communities, and the community cohesion there is amazing. And yeah, man. So I think with me, I'm good at explaining things. So where like someone would ask about my religion or what it is you believe in, I won't come across too powerful, like, oh, you should believe in it too. It wouldn't be nothing like that. It'd be like, I'd compare it. But see, in your religion, we have this similar belief. It's exactly the same thing, but just in our different religions. So I'm good at explaining things. I've never really come across racism, nothing like that. Nothing.
I mean, Islam can get a lot of negative spotlight, can't it? People don't really understand it, and it just seems to get mentioned a lot when anything things bad happen, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course.
Does that bring its own pressures on, people in the community who follow Islam? If the bad things happen, does it make you feel a little bit insecure?
I wouldn't say it makes me feel insecure. It just makes me want to kind of like get out there and get to the top a lot quicker to show everyone that, listen, this is what it's actually about. Because I said, people nowadays, they don't know how to come across, they don't know how to explain things, they're too passionate in their beliefs and they don't know how to come across. I think that it's exactly the same as boxing. Like like I was saying about the coaches, if they're too passionate about something, it's not going to work. Because if the boxer don't want to do it and they're not receiving how he's explaining his information properly, everything's just going to get miscommunicated.
I must just add, but I haven't just come from left field on this, because I sat through about an hour and a half of you in an interview a couple of years ago, wasn't it? It was about Islam and all that, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a podcast, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was a podcast. What I was saying in that podcast was boxing and Islam teach very similar values: respecting your elders, respecting people who teach you good things, and all about just respect and peace. Islam actually means peace. People don't understand that. So yeah, that's what all that podcast was about.
Right, let's move away from peace, get back to boxing. There's a fight which is being announced today, and I understand you've already picked a winner, but it's Troy Williamson versus Kieran Smith, a final eliminator for the British title. Your thoughts?
It's a good fight, a very good fight, both undefeated, 154 division also, it's a wicked division, but I think Kieran Smith nicks it, because I was watching him. Actually, the first time I watched him was against that Robert Asagba, and I wasn't even a pro then, and he sparked him. I thought, yeah, this kid's good. Little did I know he'd be in my division and I could potentially face him anytime soon. So it's a good fight. I do believe Kieran Smith wins. I could be proven wrong. Troy's obviously a good fighter. They're both good fighters, and it'll be a good one to watch. But my opinion on that is Kieran Smith points victory.
It's the danger of the unknown with Smith, isn't it? Because he kind of really flies under the radar, and he hasn't fought since 2019, and we haven't seen him, have we? So we just, we don't know.
Yeah, his name don't really get mentioned more than as it should. But if you know your boxing, you know exactly who he is and what he brings to the table.
That victory would put paid to a fight that gets talked about quite a lot, wouldn't it?
Yeah, of course it would. It'd be, listen, either one of them, it'd be a good one. And like I said, the 154 division, I'm here to make a statement and make a name. So whoever they put in front of me, crack on. If you like, my last fight was actually meant to be against Troy. But obviously, I think he picked up an injury and it couldn't be, so that was a bit unfortunate. But hopefully, whatever happens, we'll see who they put in front of me, see who the winner is, and hopefully I might be able to face them.
It's a shame not to have that fight. It seems to have been talked about for quite a long time now, isn't it?
It's been talked about for about 2 years, because he called me out when I fought for my European title. That's it, because I see it all over Twitter. And I was like, who's it? What's happening here? I've never been called out in my life before. So it was all right. I've kind of accustomed to it now, and it's a good bit of banter at the day on Twitter and on social media. But at the end of the day, the real reality of it is we need to sign the papers and crack on with it. But obviously he's got a fight now, I'll have a fight in June. We'll see where we go from there.
What do you make of this division? I mean, you say obviously it is hot. Like you say, you had Metcalf and Cheeseman fought on Saturday. It was a
wicked fight.
Very good fight. You had Fowler and Fitzgerald. No, I've forgotten a couple, but it is, you know, how do you assess who the pecking order of the division?
You'd have to do it from British champion, who's Ted Cheeseman. Now, I personally thought Metcalf would beat him. It was a good victory from Ted Cheeseman, and yeah, so obviously you have to put him first, and then it's hard really because if we were all under one roof, it'd be easy to sort it out because there'd be so many 154 fighters. You could match him left, right, and centre.
Doesn't always happen, even if they does it. So.
Yeah, so yeah, man, I'd say Ted Cheeseman number one, obviously, because he's got the British belt.
And you want to put yourself in line for this soon enough?
Yeah, of course, I'd love to. Like I said, whatever route comes, whatever belt it may be, whatever route takes me to the world title, because that's the end of my aim. That's my aim at the end of the day.
So you're not obsessed with the British title?
I'm not obsessed with it, but if I had the opportunity to fight for it, I'd fight for it 100%. But it's not something that I've dreamt of winning. It's not something I've dreamt of winning. My ambition has always been world titles, so whatever way I'll get there in the correct way and not in no rush, that's the route I'll hopefully would be taking.
Right, Hamzah, we know you've got a busy time ahead.
That's it.
We wish you a very safe travels.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy yourself over there. Work hard,
Yep.
but behave yourself.
I will do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Richard.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.